Hi, everybody. Hey, welcome to Forging Futures with Real Money. My name is Diane Graber. I'm the host of this podcast, and it is my pleasure to come to you on a regular basis. And I have to apologize for the week or so off. I've had a pretty crazy schedule and such going on, but we're here to help you create a life by design. Instead of living a life by default, we want you to design the life that really makes the most sense for you, that makes you really excited to get up each and every day, that makes you excited to live that life to the fullest. And so we want to give you some suggestions on a regular basis to make that happen. I want to talk to you all today, though, about what's going on around us in terms of the economy and inflation and things like that are happening. You see, when they print millions and trillions of these U.S. American dollars just out of thin air, what happens, my friends, is that the purchasing power of this dollar just tends to deflate more and more and more and more. And then you couple that with inflation, and you have a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what's going on in the world around us today. They've printed way too many trillions of these dollars out of thin air. And at the same time, the cost of goods and services are climbing dramatically. I don't know if you've paid any attention to what's going on. Chicken is way up there in price. Cost of building materials. Heaven forbid you want to build a house today. Cost of building materials has skyrocketed. And I'm sure you're seeing it across the board. Fuel's gone up. Propane's gone up. Filling your car and filling your propane tanks today is really going to tax you. So needless to say, there's some things that we need to be doing to hedge against this inflation and to really make a difference in our overall living expenses and so forth. One of my suggestions to all of you is that you diversify your portfolios a little bit and start thinking about diving into precious metals. Gold and silver, sound money, is definitely the direction that you should be headed to hedge against that inflation right now, because it's a pretty important thing to be thinking of right now. And right now is the time to be buying silver. And you should probably be considering that in a big, big way. I personally am involved in the home base industry, and I have been involved for quite some time. Actually, 29 years in this space is what I've done. And I'm a firm believer that you got to have multiple streams of income. So I own multiple companies, but I also have always stayed in the direct sales home-based business space, just for the simple fact that I know that it's really incredible leveraged income. Some of the other companies that I own, they own me basically. But when you talk about a home-based business and leveraged income and creating a team of people, you're actually then capitalizing on the efforts of a whole team rather than just your own efforts. And, there's a quote out there that I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. And if you think about that and you put that in perspective, that's really the best reason in the world to create a home-based business and to create one, that has a reputation that's worthy, that has, good product or good service that you're offering the public. And I don't distinguish which one for you to go for. If you're interested in what I'm doing, you just need to reach out to me personally. But I think every home-based business has some merit. If you're passionate about the product or the services that they're offering, then you can be good at what you're doing. If you don't have a passion for it, if you have not quite figured out, what their product is all about, or, what their model really does for the average person, then that's something that you really should be diving into and learning, not only the company, the model, the products, but you also need to learn some skill sets to be really good at it. And there are some skill sets that are involved in home-based businesses that don't pertain to anything else business-wise. So there are some learning curves that need to happen there. There are some things that you need to consider when you do dive into the home-based business space. And, that's, again, one of the things that I've done for decades and been pretty successful at. I've actually created a six-figure income in this space for quite a long time and dramatically changed my life as a result of it. I was able to raise all three of my children without putting them in daycare. I got to choose when I worked, when I played, when we vacationed. And we literally have, lived a life by design as a result of it. As a result of all the income that I created in the home-based business space, that's how I've been able to create other companies that my husband and I own. So it's been really a win-win situation all the way around. It's opened doors for me that wouldn't have been opened otherwise, that required that massive income, but it created relationships across the world that, I have friends in every part of the country and out of country for that matter, because we worked in companies together and, made some big things happen along the way. So it's really awesome that you can create those friendships and those relationships all over the map. That really, that's a big benefit. That's part of living your life by design, creating those relationships that make a big difference in your life from time to time. Be able to go from one end of the country to the other and know that you've got places you can stay, that people are really happy to see you and want you to stay for a day or two. That's pretty awesome. And that's, something that I really value that has happened as a result of my time in the industry. But again, it's really important right now that you start diversifying a little bit. Start hedging off some of this inflation that's coming at us, because it's coming like a freight train. And you're going to see things change dramatically in the next several months. You're going to see prices of fuel really inflate. You're going to see even more in the food industry going up in price. You're going to see a lot of things that are going to change as a result of this pandemic, the loss of jobs, the loss of income, all the money that was printed. I mean, there's some really dramatic things that you roll them all together, and it is a recipe for disaster. So hedge that off a little bit by investing yourself in some precious metals. If you need help with that, please reach out to me. Send me a message through my YouTube channel here. I'm more than happy to give you some insight as to how to go about that, where you should be going for real trustworthy sources for precious metals, because not everyone is trustworthy. As a matter of fact, eBay has decided to pull all precious metal sales off the eBay sites because they've had such fraud in that space. So again, it's important that you're able to buy from a trusted source, and I have that information for you. Just reach out and I'll share it with you. But again, I'm really very adamant about helping you create a life by design. So think about what you want, set goals for yourself. Are you folks familiar with the fact that there are only about 2% of the average people, 2% of the people around you are the only ones that are setting goals for themselves? Be a goal setter. Be a goal smasher. Be somebody that gets really, really focused on creating what you want in your life and setting goals to get there in stages and in increments, and just go for it and smash those goals month after month after month, and then set bigger ones for yourself, and then strive to do things even bigger the next time. So again, it's really important that you set goals for yourself and that you really protect yourself in what's going on in the economy around you, so that you aren't uncomfortable in your lifestyle, so that you can be comfortable and you can take care of yourself and your families in a much better manner without worrying. Worrying about where your next check's coming from, worrying about where income is going to mysteriously come out of midair from. That's no way to live. You can't sleep very well at night when you're worrying about how you're going to pay your bills. You don't wake very rested the next day when all you've done is worry all night long whether or not that check has hit your bank account and your account's overdrawn. You've got to start taking care of things on a financial stage. And at the same time, you got to figure out how to diversify so that you can do that without giving everything else up in your life. You can't just always work and trade time for money. You can't trade hours for dollars all the time and get ahead. It just doesn't work. You've got to create that leveraged income. And that leveraged income comes from home-based business. And if you haven't tuned into that yet, please tune into that idea. Tune into the fact that there are hundreds and hundreds of companies out there for you to choose from. Lots of products, lots of services. There are things out there that should, make you passionate about offering those things to your friends, your family, and building a network around it. So find something that really excites you, and find something that you can really dig your teeth in, and find someone to mentor you that will teach you what to do, the skills that you need, how to perfect those skills, and how to go out and really change your life based on changing your income. Because let's face it, we're all going to have money to survive on. We all got to have money for those big, hairy goals that we've got. Most of those goals require massive income to meet them. So you've got to do something in that respect first before you can crash the other goals. So get yourself in that frame of mind. Reach out if you've got questions as to what I do personally. Reach out if you need a source to buy precious metals from, because you should be doing that right now. That is a great way to diversify your portfolio, hedge against inflation, put a nest egg together of some real tangible assets. And I would love to share with you how you go about doing that and getting that done. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you for showing up and tuning in again. And I promise I'll be more diligent about getting one of these recordings out to you once a week. Have a great rest of your day.